And I said, your hand's always broken. You ain't known for your punching power since you moved up from lightweight to welterweight. Why are you so sure you're going to do this?
It's wild because, like, if you look at Floyd's resume, it's much deeper than Crawford's. And Floyd was faster and he had a better defense and all that stuff. But Floyd picked and chose when he fought guys, especially once he left lightweight.
For that, Floyd is the best fighter, in his era. And I feel like I'm the best fighter in my era.
Reacting to Floyd Mayweather's remarks about Terence Crawford, Stephen A. Smith highlighted how the current boxing landscape can sometimes inflate reputations while downplaying others. He emphasized that Crawford deserves recognition for his exceptional skills and accomplishments. Smith also noted that Mayweather is no longer at his prime, and that the focus should be on celebrating Crawford's dominance rather than engaging in unfair comparisons that diminish his achievements.
Think about what he had to say about you when he said, you're way better than Floyd Money Mayweather. I know you heard that he said that. What thoughts came to your mind when you heard that Canelo Alvarez said that about you?
Hey, that's a big compliment. He's been in the ring with both of us, so he would know, from his own experience. A lot of people, they can say this, they can say that, but there's only, a few people that can say they've been in the ring with Terence Crawford and Floyd Mayweather and give their own.
Shane Mosley commented that both Terence Crawford and Floyd Mayweather are outstanding fighters, but Crawford naturally has a size advantage. He noted that Crawford's strength and physical presence give him an edge that Mayweather didn't have when competing at middleweight. At the same time, Mosley praised Mayweather's technical precision and defensive mastery, which allowed him to overcome larger opponents. Crawford, in contrast, doesn't face the same challenges due to his natural size. Mosley emphasized that Mayweather's legacy is defined by skill, intelligence, and adaptability, rather than sheer size or strength.
Think's better out of those two, Crawford or Mayweather?
I think Crawford is better, bigger. He's actually he moved in weight class, and I would say Crawford is a better fight all around fighter. Mayweather's really good too, though. You can knock him as well. He's very talented. It would have been a tough fight, but I think Crawford would have the edge over Mayweather because of the long arms and because he's bigger. You know what I'm saying? And he would have kept him at bay. It would have been hard for Mayweather to counter, maybe. But Mayweather's definitely a technician. I mean, like Crawford said, Mayweather has his era, and Crawford, this is his era.
In an interview with Ariel Helwani, Terence Crawford emphasized that Canelo Alvarez has a unique perspective, having faced both Mayweather and Crawford. Crawford noted that their fights occurred under very different circumstances. Mayweather fought a younger, less experienced Canelo, while Crawford faced a fully developed 168-pound champion. Despite Canelo's size and strength, Crawford emerged victorious, demonstrating his skill and power. Crawford sees Canelo's acknowledgement of his performance as a reminder that greatness is shaped by context and different eras in boxing.
Cooking right there, because there was this thought, this prevailing thought that the smaller man always loses to the bigger man. This was repeated time and again throughout the fight week. And he proved that that's not the case. Again, I hope you all recognize this was a 168-pounder fighting a 147-pounder. He had one fight at 154 last August, was the undisputed king at 147, beating Errol Spence in July of 2023. Came back the following year, fought Israel Madrimov at the soccer stadium in Los Angeles, and then did everything he could to get this fight, played his cards the right way, and there he was, standing face to face against Canelo Alvarez, who did seem for the longest time like he didn't want to take this fight, and because there was great risk involved, because not only is Terence Crawford one of the all-time best fighters in the history of the sport, he's smaller than him, so a lot of people will be like, oh, of course you're going to beat the smaller guy, right? But I think Canelo recognized, yeah, he might be smaller, but he's that damn good.
Floyd Mayweather faced Canelo under the guidance of his trainer, Greg Hackett, who emphasized Mayweather's complete mastery of boxing. Hackett noted that Mayweather's style at the time was highly polished, disciplined, and precise, contrasting with Crawford's approach, which relies more on dynamic offense and adaptability. He explained that Crawford excels by adjusting his strategy mid-fight and using explosive counterattacks, while Mayweather succeeded by executing everything with near-perfect consistency. Hackett acknowledged Crawford's accomplishments, but maintains that Mayweather's performance against Canelo remains one of the finest displays of skill in boxing history.
The Floyd Mayweather that Canelo Alvarez fought.
Yeah.
In the last version of Terence Crawford that we've seen in the ring.
Yeah.
Who's the better fighter, Jay?
Of course you got to give it to Floyd. Floyd at that time, Ben, what's up? Floyd at that time versus Canelo was in total confidence. His skill set, his IQ, you know what I'm saying? Everything he do, he was just a complete fighter that night. But I feel like was up against a lot because he was fighting a guy that we knew something about, but we ain't know too much about. People don't understand how much a fighter could be thrown off by what he don't know. And the reason it throws you off is because you're actually learning about the fighter while you're in there. That's what Bud went up against that night. That's why he didn't look so great. To me, I could be wrong, but he didn't look so great to me because he was learning a lot about Madrimov while he was in there with Madrimov.
Max Kellerman analyzed the different paths of the two fighters. He noted that after leaving the lightweight division, Floyd Mayweather became very selective with his opponents, carefully planning each fight. Crawford, by contrast, has followed a different approach, often taking on anyone available without hesitation. This willingness to take risks makes Crawford appear more daring than Mayweather, who strategically chooses matchups. Kellerman emphasized that this contrast doesn't diminish Mayweather's greatness. Instead, it highlights Crawford's determination to challenge himself across multiple weight classes and against formidable opponents.
Wild, because like if you look at Floyd's resume, it's much deeper than Crawford's. And Floyd was faster and he had a better defense and all that stuff. But Floyd picked and chose when he fought guys, especially once he left lightweight. He wiped out the junior lights, bring him. Lightweight, he jumps up to Jose Luis Castillo first thing. A lot of people think he lost the first fight, I didn't, but then he won the rematch. But once he left lightweight, he was careful about when he fought guys. So even though his resume is deeper with names, people remember, but he didn't want it with certain dudes at certain times. Crawford, we all witnessed, even though the resume is thin in certain ways, he wanted it with everyone the whole time.
Oh, yes.
That makes a difference to people.
Crawford stated clearly that he believes he could beat Floyd Mayweather in his prime. He emphasized that this comment was not meant to be disrespectful, but rather a reflection of confidence in his own abilities. While he respects Mayweather's skill and legacy, Crawford believes that his adaptability, strength, and ability to switch stances would give him the edge in a matchup. His remarks highlight the competitive spirit that defines boxing, without diminishing Floyd's historic achievements.
Who do you think wins in a fight, you or Prime Floyd?
Me.
No questions?
Why would you think that I would say Floyd? You know, that's one of my favorite fighters. But yeah, nah.
Jeff Mayweather, Floyd's uncle, reminded fans that Floyd was already past his prime when he fought Canelo. He was slower, older, and not as sharp as the version that once dominated his weight classes. Even so, Floyd still beat Canelo through his skill and speed. Jeff argues that this context is often overlooked when people compare Floyd's win to Crawford's victory over Canelo. His point is that the circumstances matter. Floyd was losing some of his peak abilities, while Crawford was at the top of his game, making direct comparisons difficult.
Also, if we remember, Canelo at that time was a razor-thin decision. Floyd won, majority decision. C.J. Ross had it with what a lot of people had as a draw. And then the other two judges scored it for Floyd, of course.
Yeah, nobody had it.
And that was a Floyd at the top of his game with a very green Canelo with very little experience, and he took him, into deep waters. So
what was Canelo? What, 20 something? 20 what? 23, 25?
Yeah, I'm still very, very young in the game, obviously.
Very young. He had more fights than Floyd, and he lost.
Yeah, but
man that was 30-something years old, 36.
But Floyd was clearly at the top of his career, and Canelo had fought a lot of people. But
how you at the top of your career in your prime? You in your prime? You ain't in your prime when you're at 36. That's not your prime.
Did he lose? I mean,
your prime is in your 20s.
It's different for different people.
Yeah, okay. Well, and that's why Canelo was saying what he's saying.
Don't you? I mean,
want to make himself look like he did something great.
According to Stephen A. Smith, Crawford's win over Canelo was one of the most entertaining fights in recent memory. He praised Crawford for defeating a much bigger opponent, despite perceptions that he was smaller and weaker. Smith said the fight highlighted not only Crawford's talent, but also his ability to put on a show for the fans. He emphasized that boxers like Crawford are vital to the sport because they bring both skill and excitement, making each fight memorable and unique.
90,482 people showed up for this fight. But the biggest props of the night goes to Terence Crawford, who did not disappoint. He was supposed to be the smaller man. He was supposed to be the weaker man. He was supposed to be the man that was going to spend the entire night on his bicycle, running for his damn life because Saul Canelo Alvarez was coming his way. That is not what happened. What happened instead, ladies and gentlemen, was a masterclass in boxing by Terence Crawford. Now, to me, the fight, some people were saying it was a severely lopsided and stuff like that. I'm not going for that. I'm not feeling that at all. It wasn't like that at all, okay? I had the fight 5-4 in favor of Terence Crawford after 9 rounds. It could have gone either way. And then he basically put on a boxing clinic over the last 3 rounds of the fight. And one rounds 10, 11, and 12. He used his jab. He kept his distance. He exchanged when necessary, which is something that I was scared to death of him doing. But he wasn't scared at all. Okay?
Another boxing fan noted that Floyd Mayweather has the largest global following, thanks to his undefeated record and status as a major pay-per-view draw. However, the fan believes that Terence Crawford, a natural southpaw who can easily switch stances, might be even more talented. Crawford's style is unique and sometimes hard to read. He controls fights in a way reminiscent of Mayweather, but with his own twist, using exceptional timing, accuracy, and composure in the ring.
Crawford versus Floyd Mayweather Jr. Who wins this fight? I'm going with Terence Crawford, and I don't think that's unpopular or crazy to say. I think most people will agree with me. I understand Floyd Mayweather has a lot of fans out there, but the truth is, as great as Floyd Mayweather is, Terence Crawford is one of one. And I say that because who else has knockout power in both hands, is able to switch stances between orthodox and southpaw so seamlessly while having great footwork? It's not like Terence Crawford is some stationary target or a flat-footed fighter that's going to be chasing Floyd around. Terence Crawford knows how to cut the ring off. He has tremendous ring IQ. And not only is he a great boxer, but he's a great fighter. He'll be able to make it dirty. If he is on the inside with Floyd, that power will carry him far. And I just don't see how Floyd will be able to beat a Terence Crawford. I really don't see it. I understand Floyd's defense is incredible, but he is smaller than Terence Crawford. Terence Crawford would have a significant reach advantage on Floyd Mayweather. I believe Terence Crawford would also be taller than Floyd Mayweather, as well as all the skillful and technical aspects of what I just laid out prior. So I don't understand how anybody could pick Floyd Mayweather to beat Terence Crawford. Styles make fights, and I believe Terence has the style to beat one Floyd Mayweather. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Whether you agree or disagree, it doesn't matter. Join the discussion, subscribe for more, and leave a like if you enjoyed the time spent. Thank you. You are all appreciated.
Many people in the boxing world question the constant comparisons between Floyd Mayweather and Terence Crawford. They argue that Mayweather's dominance was truly one of a kind and cannot be replicated. Regardless of Crawford's accomplishments, they believe Mayweather remains the greatest due to his defensive mastery, ring intelligence, and precise control in fights, qualities no other boxer can fully match. Some critics also suggest that Crawford's rise is more hype than reality, fueled by fans who want him to succeed Mayweather. While Crawford and Mayweather have very different styles and career paths, Mayweather built his legacy on defense and strategic business decisions, whereas Crawford thrives on switching stances, aggression, and risk-taking. These experts claim that comparisons often overlook these differences, turning them into more of a source of excitement than a true measure of similarity.
You guys say it with me. Terence Crawford isn't Mayweather. I need you guys to sit here, grab somebody close to you, hold their hand, sit down, say it with me. Terence Crawford is not Floyd Mayweather. They're just both black. That's the only similarities they have. They both black. Terence Crawford loves being hit. The guy likes to scrap. He likes to brawl. Terence Crawford isn't even an Alexander Usyk. This guy loves being hit. He gets a thrill out of it. He sticks his tongue at his opponents when he is hit. Look at that. He enjoys that stuff. He tends to fight with low hands at times. He tends to exchange and brawl in the pocket, plant and fire, despite him having really great feet. Sometimes he likes to sit there and fire. You have Terence Crawford beating Canelo, that's fine. I get you. But don't bring up Floyd Mayweather. No similarities. Floyd was way quicker, way sharper, better defensively, better reflexes, better timing, better IQ, better damn near everything. So say it with me one more time before we go. Terence Crawford, we said it, is not Floyd Mayweather. There we go.
Before Crawford, no boxer had ever been the undisputed champion in 3 different weight classes, which immediately set him apart. This achievement highlights not only his versatility, but also his strength across multiple divisions. Floyd Mayweather, by contrast, never truly unified the welterweight or super welterweight divisions. Crawford, however, has amassed more titles than any other fighter, an accomplishment that cements his place in history and distinguishes his legacy from Mayweather's.
Terence Bud Crawford defeats Canelo Alvarez and becomes the first ever male 3-division undisputed champion in boxing history. Thank God the judges got this one right. But wow, what a technical battle this was. It was a very close fight, but as it went on, Terence was getting more and more comfortable in there. I remember in the 7th round, he even stood right in front of Canelo and fought him on the inside. Then in rounds 9 through 12, Crawford really started to open up on his flurries, gaining Canelo's respect. But the reason Crawford won this fight was because he was surprisingly durable at 168. He was able to do his thing because for the 36 minutes he was in there with Canelo, he was never really worried about what was coming back at him. I mean, Canelo just kept going to Terence's right side of his body, and that stung a couple times, but those were the really only hard shots Canelo landed. Unfortunately, this is terrible for Canelo's legacy because the smaller men beat him up, and Canelo's kind of been cherry-picking his opponents the last couple years. But well-deserved for Terence Crawford. It's going to look amazing on his legacy. Boxing got it right tonight. On the biggest stage, with the most eyeballs, no controversy, just pure sport. And one of the best ever at the sport got it done tonight, Terence Bud Crawford.
Crawford spoke about the seriousness of his preparation for the fight against Canelo. He explained that his entire training camp was focused on building strength and conditioning to successfully compete at 168 pounds. Crawford emphasized that his victory was the result of careful planning, hard work, and confidence in his abilities. His comments make it clear that he approaches every fight strategically, ensuring that each victory advances his career and solidifies his dominance in this era of boxing.